Hey everybody, welcome back, or just welcome. If this is your very first time tuning into one of these videos, I'm really happy to have you here. Truly, it means a lot that you've decided to spend some of your time with me, listening to me speak. This is another one of our A2 English listening practice videos. You know, these videos are designed specifically for you, for people who are learning English, especially at that A2 level, or maybe B1, B2, even higher. Anyone who wants to practice their listening skills, their comprehension. That's what this is all about. The idea is simple, really. I speak naturally, or as naturally as I can, while trying to keep things reasonably clear and easy to follow, and you listen. You focus. You try to understand everything I'm saying. You can listen multiple times. You can read along with a transcript if one is available, whatever helps you the most. The goal is to get comfortable hearing English spoken at a normal, conversational pace, understanding the flow, the intonation, the vocabulary. It's all about training your ear, you know? Training your brain to process English sounds and turn them into meaning. So, grab a cup of coffee, or tea, or water, whatever you like to drink. Get comfortable, settle in. Maybe you're sitting down. Maybe you're walking. Maybe you're commuting. Whatever you're doing, just relax as much as you can and focus on the sound of my voice and the words I'm saying. Try not to translate in your head too much if you can help it. Just try to understand the meaning directly. That's the real key to fluency, I think. Moving beyond translation, are you ready? Ready to dive in? Ready to listen and practice? Okay, good. I hope so. Today, I want to talk about a topic that is incredibly dear to my heart. A topic that excites me just thinking about it. A topic that has shaped who I am in so many ways. Today, I'm going to talk about travel. Yes, travel. That simple word, but it encompasses so much. It's not just about moving from one place to another, is it? It's about experiences. It's about discovery. It's about learning. It's about challenging yourself. It's about seeing the world, seeing how other people live, trying new things, tasting new foods, hearing new sounds, smelling new smells. It's about breaking free from the routine of everyday life, even if just for a little while. Traveling, for me, is one of the most incredible, most enriching, one of the funnest activities there is. Actually, I should probably say most fun instead of funnest, but sometimes funnest just feels more fun, doesn't it? More energetic? Anyway, traveling is definitely one of the most fun activities I can think of. It's something I've always loved. Truly. It's not a recent passion. It's something that's been with me for as long as I can remember. My earliest memories are often linked to travel in some way. Little trips, big trips, they all hold a special place in my memory bank. My love for travel started very young. When I was just a child, my family and we had the incredible opportunity to travel quite a bit. And one place in particular stands out in my memory from those early years. A place we returned to again and again. A place that felt almost like a second home for a while because we visited it so many times. That place was Hawaii. Yes, Hawaii. We traveled to Hawaii many times when I was young. Now, in case you don't know much about Hawaii, or maybe you've heard the name but aren't quite sure where it is or what it is, let me tell you a little bit about it. Hawaii is an archipelago, which means it's a chain of islands. It's located right there, smack in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. If you look at a map of the world, find North America, find Asia, Hawaii is kind of floating out there between them, far from any mainland. It's incredibly isolated, geographically speaking. And despite its isolation, it is also one of the 50 states of the United States of America. Yes, it's part of the U.S., even though it's thousands of miles away from the continental U.S. It joined the Union in 1959, becoming the 50th state. The main islands people usually visit are Oahu, where Honolulu and Waikiki Beach are, Maui, Kauai, and the Big Island, which is actually called Hawaii Island. Each island has its own distinct personality, its own unique landscapes and vibe, but they all share that quintessential aloha spirit. As I mentioned, my family and I went there a lot when I was growing up. I've been there so many times, I actually don't remember how many exactly. I've tried to count before, but the early trips kind of blend together in my memory. It was somewhere around 6 or 7 times, maybe even 8. I'm not precisely sure on the number, but it was definitely frequent. It felt like a regular destination for our family holidays. Maybe it was because my parents loved it so much, or maybe it was easier for them logistically. I'm not sure of all the reasons now. But the result was that Hawaii became a very familiar place to me during my childhood and teenage years. Because of those frequent visits, Hawaii holds a very special place in my heart. It's definitely one of my favorite places in the world. And when I say in the world, I mean of the places I've been to so far, of course. There are still so many places I want to see. But among the destinations I've experienced, Hawaii is right there at the top. What makes Hawaii so special? Well, lots of things. For starters, it has plenty of really, really beautiful beaches. And when I say beautiful, I mean postcard perfect. Stunningly gorgeous beaches. White sand, golden sand, even black sand beaches, formed from volcanic rock. The water is usually incredibly clear and turquoise, inviting you to swim, surf, snorkel, or just gaze at it. The waves can be gentle and calm in some spots, perfect for paddling, or massive and powerful in others, attracting world-class surfers. Walking along those beaches, with the warm sand between your toes and the gentle sound of the waves, it's incredibly relaxing. The air is warm and often smells of flowers, like plumeria or jasmine. The sunsets over the Pacific are often spectacular, painting the sky in vibrant oranges, pinks, and purples. Just picturing it now makes me feel calmer. But it's not just the physical beauty of the beaches. It's the feeling of Hawaii, the lifestyle there. It's often described as slow and calm, and it really is. There's a different pace of life. People seem more relaxed, less stressed than in many mainland cities. There's an emphasis on aloha, which is more than just a greeting. It's a way of life that embodies friendliness, compassion, and peace. There's a strong connection to nature, to the ocean, to the land. Time seems to slow down a little. There's less rushing, less urgency. You see people wearing casual clothes. Flip-flops are the norm. Traffic can be bad in Honolulu, sure, but once you're outside the city, things really quiet down. People gather for luau's, they spend time outdoors, they appreciate the natural beauty surrounding them. This slower pace, this calmness is incredibly appealing. It makes you feel like you can finally take a deep breath and just be. So, yes, Hawaii, with its stunning beaches and calm lifestyle, is absolutely one of my favorite places to travel to. And I have so many fond memories from our trips there. Learning to bodyboard in the waves, exploring tide pools, seeing sea turtles, visiting pineapple plantations, hiking up Diamond Head for incredible views, eating delicious shave ice, watching hula dancers. The list goes on and on. Each trip added new layers to my appreciation for the islands. However, and this might sound a little contradictory after just talking about how much I love the beaches of Hawaii, but even though Hawaii is one of my favorite places to travel, in general, if I have to choose between different types of landscapes, I actually prefer the countryside, the forests, or the mountains more than the beach for my ideal type of trip these days. Isn't that funny? I love Hawaii, which is famous for its beaches, but my true preference, my deepest draw when it comes to landscapes, is towards green spaces, trees, elevation changes, fresh mountain air, or rolling hills. Don't get me wrong, I still appreciate a beautiful beach, and a coastal trip can be wonderful. But if you offer me a choice between a week lounging on a beach, or a week hiking in the mountains, exploring a forest, or driving through picturesque countryside, I will almost always choose the latter. There's just something about the mountains, the quiet of the forest, the vastness of the countryside that speaks to my soul more deeply. Maybe it's the challenge of a hike, the feeling of being surrounded by towering trees, the breathtaking views from a mountain peak, or the simple beauty of rolling farmland. This preference for nature and wide open spaces leads me to my preferred types of travel. Because I love these landscapes, I love taking camping trips and road trips. These kinds of trips allow you to immerse yourself in the natural environment, to see the scenery unfold around you at your own pace. Camping, for example. What is it about camping that I love? Well, it's about disconnecting, isn't it? Getting away from screens, from the constant buzz of modern life. It's about being outside, breathing fresh air, sleeping under the stars, if you're lucky and the weather cooperates. It's about the simple rituals, setting up a tent, building a campfire, cooking food over the fire or a portable stove, sitting around talking, or just listening to the sounds of nature at night. It's about the challenges, too. Dealing with unexpected weather, maybe encountering some bugs or wildlife, hopefully not too close. Figuring things out with limited resources. It feels more elemental, more real. It's a great way to spend time, with friends or family, working together, sharing the experience. You wake up with the sun, the air is crisp and clean, maybe there's mist rising from the ground. It's just refreshing. I haven't camped as much recently as I used to, but it's a type of trip I always look forward to. And then there are road trips. Road trips. The open road, the sense of freedom, the ability to stop whenever and wherever you want. That's pure magic to me. A road trip is about the journey itself, not just the destination. It's about seeing the landscape change mile by mile, discovering little towns you never knew existed, stumbling upon unexpected sights, listening to music, having long conversations with your travel companions, or just enjoying the silence and your own thoughts. I've taken a few different road trips through the U.S. before. The United States is such a vast country with so much diverse scenery that it's perfectly suited for road tripping. You can drive coast to coast and see everything from major cities to deserts, mountains, forests, plains, beaches. It's all there. I remember one trip driving through the Southwest, seeing the incredible red rock formations, the vast empty spaces under huge skies. Another trip took me through the Pacific Northwest, with its lush green forests and rugged coastline. Each trip was completely different, offering unique experiences and views. You really get a sense of the scale of the country and the regional differences in culture, food, and landscape. But my most recent road trip, and one that stands out as particularly incredible, was in Europe. I just recently took a road trip through the Tuscany region of Italy. Oh, Tuscany. If you've seen pictures, you know how beautiful it is. But seeing it in person, it's something else entirely. Tuscany is famous for its rolling hills, covered in vineyards and olive groves. There are charming medieval towns perched on hilltops, surrounded by ancient walls. The cypress trees lining the roads create that iconic Italian landscape you see in paintings. Taking a road trip there was, I can honestly say, one of the most incredible experiences I've ever had. Ever. And I've had some amazing travel experiences. But Tuscany by car? Wow. It was the perfect way to explore that region. We rented a car, a small one suitable for navigating narrow Italian roads, and just drove. We had a general route planned, but we also allowed for spontaneity. We could pull over whenever we saw a view we liked, which was constantly. We could detour to visit a small village that wasn't on our original list. We could stop at a local winery for a tasting or find a trattoria in a tiny town for lunch. The driving itself was part of the experience. The roads winding through the hills, the views changing around every bend. One moment you're driving past endless rows of grapevines. The next you're approaching a hill town that looks like it hasn't changed in centuries. The light in Tuscany is also something special, especially in the late afternoon, casting long shadows and giving everything a warm golden glow. We visited some of the famous cities like Florence, though we spent less time driving in Florence, and more time driving to and from it. But the real magic was driving between the smaller towns. Siena, San Gimignano, with its famous towers, Volterra, Pienza, Montepulciano, the Chianti region. Each town had its own character, its own history, its own beautiful architecture. Wandering through the narrow cobblestone streets, finding hidden piazzas, stepping into ancient churches, sampling local specialties like pecorino cheese, prosciutto, amazing bread, and of course drinking the local wine, Chianti Classico, Brunello di Montalcino, Vino Nobile di Montepulciano. It was a feast for the senses. The combination of breathtaking scenery, rich history, delicious food and wine, and the freedom of having our own car made the Tuscany road trip absolutely unforgettable. It was exactly the kind of trip that feeds my soul, immersed in beautiful countryside, exploring at our own pace, experiencing local life. So if you ever get the chance to go to Italy, and specifically to the Tuscany region, I cannot recommend this enough. I highly, highly recommend you to rent a car and drive through Tuscany. Seriously, don't just stay in one city. Don't just take organized bus tours, though those can be fine too. But if you want to truly experience the heart of Tuscany, get a car. Trust me, you won't be disappointed. You will see things you wouldn't see otherwise. You'll have the freedom to explore on your own terms, and you'll create memories that will last a lifetime. The views, the smells, the tastes, it's all amplified when you have the flexibility of a car. Speaking of Europe, that wasn't my first significant trip there, although the Tuscany road trip was quite recent. A few years before that, I took a completely different kind of trip through Portugal and Spain. This was a backpacking trip. Now, backpacking is a very different style of travel compared to a road trip or a family holiday in Hawaii. Backpacking is typically done on a budget, often relying on public transport, buses, trains, and staying in hostels. And, as the name suggests, you carry everything you need on your back in a large backpack. This trip through Portugal and Spain was my first time backpacking, and I learned a lot. Let me tell you, it wasn't easy. It was challenging in ways I hadn't fully anticipated. I was traveling with a friend, spent a lot of time walking. And when I say a lot of time walking, I mean a lot of time walking. Exploring cities on foot is a great way to see them, but with heavy backpacks on for parts of the day as we moved between accommodations or train stations, it adds a whole other level of physical effort. And we also spent a lot of time taking buses and trains. This is part of the backpacking experience, relying on the public transportation network to get from one city or town to the next. It can be efficient, and it's often much cheaper than flying or renting a car. You get to see the countryside passing by from the window. But it also means you're on a schedule. You have to navigate stations in foreign languages, deal with potential delays, and again, you're doing all of this while managing your luggage. And about the luggage, the whole time we had these big backpacks on our backs. Not just small day packs, but full-sized multi-day backpacking packs. These packs can easily weigh 10-15 kilograms, 20-30 pounds, or even more depending on how much you pack. Lifting them, carrying them through busy train stations, up and down stairs. Many European train stations and old buildings don't have elevators or escalators everywhere. Walking across town with them, it's physically demanding. You really have to think carefully about what you pack because you're going to be carrying it all. Every extra kilo feels like 10 after a few hours. We stayed in some pretty low-quality hostels during that trip. This is often a trade-off you make when backpacking on a tight budget. Hostels can be great. They're usually cheap, and they're fantastic places to meet other travelers from all over the world. They often have communal areas where people hang out, share tips, and socialize. But the quality can vary wildly. Some hostels are modern, clean, well-managed, and feel almost like budget hotels with shared rooms. Others are not so great. And unfortunately, because we were trying to save money and perhaps didn't do enough research beforehand, we stayed in some places that led to some bad experiences. Nothing truly dangerous, thankfully, but certainly uncomfortable and unpleasant. Think noisy roommates, uncomfortable beds, questionable cleanliness in shared bathrooms, lack of security for belongings. These are all potential downsides of staying in very cheap hostels. It really made me appreciate the value of a good night's sleep and a clean environment. The worst thing that happened to me personally during that backpacking trip, and it's an experience I really hope you never have, was that I was bitten by bed bugs when I was in Madrid. Oh, just saying the word bed bugs gives me the creeps even now. It was awful. I don't know if you've ever been bitten by bed bugs before, but let me tell you, it's not a fun experience. At all. For those unfamiliar, bed bugs are tiny insects that hide in mattresses, bed frames, cracks in walls, etc., and come out at night to feed on blood. Their bites are often itchy red welts. And once they're in a place, they are incredibly difficult to get rid of. I woke up one morning in Madrid feeling incredibly itchy. I didn't think much of it at first, maybe a mosquito or something. But as the day went on, more and more bites appeared, and the itching became intense. I started noticing a pattern, lines or clusters of bites, which is characteristic of bed bug bites. When I realized what it was, I felt disgusted and incredibly uncomfortable. And for me, it was worse than maybe it would be for some people, because I have really sensitive skin. My skin tends to react quite strongly to bug bites, allergic reactions, or any kind of irritation. So I didn't just have little red spots on my skin. Oh no. My bites turned into big, swollen sores. They were raised, red, and incredibly itchy, covering large areas, especially on my arms, but also on my back and legs. They looked terrible and felt even worse. It was constantly itchy, making it hard to sleep, hard to concentrate, and just generally making me miserable. I felt self-conscious because they were visible on my arms. It definitely put a dampener on the rest of the trip. We had to take precautions to avoid bringing them with us to the next place, carefully checking and cleaning our bags, keeping clothes sealed in plastic bags. It was a whole stressful ordeal on top of the physical discomfort. It took weeks, maybe even months, for the marks to fully disappear from my sensitive skin after I got home. So that bedbug experience was a really harsh lesson, learned about budget travel and choosing accommodation. It made me realize the importance of doing proper research before booking a place, especially if you're going for the cheapest option. If you plan on staying in hostels when you travel, which many backpackers do and can be a great experience despite mine, you should definitely read the online reviews first. Don't just look at the price and the pictures. Look at what other travelers are saying. Pay close attention to comments about cleanliness, security, and yes, specifically mention of bed bugs or other pest issues. Websites like Hostel World or booking platforms usually have extensive review sections. Read the recent reviews, not just the old ones. A few minutes of reading reviews can save you a lot of discomfort and hassle down the road. Sometimes it's better to pay a little more money to stay in a better place. That small extra cost for a hostel with consistently good reviews, known for its cleanliness and safety, is absolutely worth it. It can be the difference between a fantastic experience where you meet great people and get a good night's sleep, and a miserable one like dealing with bed bugs or feeling unsafe. It's about balancing budget with basic comfort and safety. It's a lesson I definitely took to heart after that trip. While backpacking is a great way to travel, being too cheap can backfire. Beyond hostels, of course, there are many other options for accommodation when you travel. Some people only like staying in hotels. Hotels offer privacy, usually a certain standard of cleanliness and service, and amenities like room service, gyms, pools, etc. They come in all price ranges, from budget motels to luxurious 5-star day establishments. If you value privacy and consistent service, hotels are often the preferred choice. Other people really like Airbnb. And lately, I have to say, I've been firmly in this camp. I've been staying at Airbnbs no matter where I travel, whenever possible. After my experiences with hostels, especially the bad ones, I've really come to appreciate what Airbnb offers. What is Airbnb? It's an online marketplace for lodging, primarily homestays or tourism experiences. People can rent out a room in their house, their entire apartment, a unique property like a treehouse or a boat, etc., to travelers. It's basically like staying in someone's home or a property managed like one, instead of a traditional hotel or hostel. In my opinion, and especially compared to the lower-end hostels I experienced, staying at an Airbnb is definitely better than staying in hostels. For me, the key benefits are privacy. You usually have your own room and often your own bathroom, or even an entire apartment or house. This is a huge change from sleeping in a dorm room with multiple strangers, space and amenities. Airbnbs often offer more space than a typical hotel room and come with amenities that are incredibly useful, especially for longer trips. A kitchen, for example. Being able to cook some of your own meals can save a lot of money compared to eating out for every single meal. Laundry facilities are also a major plus. A living area to relax in. Local experience. Staying in an Airbnb, especially if you're renting. A room in someone's home or staying in a residential neighborhood can give you a more authentic local experience. You see how people actually live. You can ask your host for recommendations on local restaurants or things to do that aren't in the guidebooks. Comfort. Generally speaking, even a budget Airbnb often feels more comfortable and homey than a budget hotel or hostel. You have more control over your environment. Value. For couples or small groups or for longer stays, Airbnbs can often offer better value than hotels, providing more space and amenities for the same price or less. Of course, like hostels, the IAO's quality of Airbnbs can vary too. It's also important to read reviews and look at the host's ratings. Communication with the host is key. But overall, my experiences with Airbnb have been overwhelmingly positive, and it's become my preferred mode of accommodation when traveling. It strikes a good balance between cost, comfort, privacy, and getting a feel for the local area. Okay, so we've talked about destinations, types of trips, road trips, backpacking, landscapes, beaches, mountains, countryside, and accommodation. Another aspect of travel that's really important and often unavoidable is the flight. Getting to your destination often involves flying, especially if you're traveling internationally or across long distances. This is probably the worst part about traveling, for me anyway. Actually, you know what? I'm going to rephrase that. It is the worst part, definitely. While travel itself is amazing, the process of flying, it can be stressful, tiring, uncomfortable, and subject to frustrating problems. I've been pretty lucky overall, I have to say. I haven't had any really catastrophic, truly terrifying flights. You know, major mechanical problems, extreme turbulence, that feels like the plane is falling out of the sky, medical emergencies on board, things like that. Thankfully, my experiences in the air itself have generally been smooth, or at least uneventful beyond typical turbulence. But even without those major issues, I have had plenty of experiences with the logistics of flying going wrong. Specifically, long delays and canceled flights. These can really ruin your trip before it even properly begins, or disrupt your plans severely. Think about it. You plan a trip, you book your flights months in advance, you arrange time off work, you book accommodation, maybe tours or activities. You build up excitement. Then you get to the airport, or you're already waiting at the gate, and you hear the announcement, "Your flight is delayed." Okay, a short delay, maybe 30 minutes, an hour. That's annoying, but usually manageable. But long delays. That means hours. 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, sometimes even more. You're stuck at the airport. There's not much you can do. You can read, try to work, buy overpriced airport food, pace around, constantly check the departure board hoping for an update. The initial annoyance turns into frustration, boredom, and maybe even anxiety if you have connecting flights or important appointments at your destination. Hours just tick by, wasted time that you could have spent enjoying your trip or just being at home. And then there are canceled flights. This is even worse than a long delay. A canceled flight means your original plan is completely out the window. You have to rebook, which can be a stressful process, especially if you're doing it with hundreds of other frustrated passengers. You might not be able to get on another flight until the next day, or even later. This can mess up all your subsequent bookings, your hotel, your rental car, your planned activities. It can mean losing money on non-refundable bookings. It can drastically shorten your trip or force you to change your itinerary entirely. I've definitely had experiences with both long delays and canceled flights. I remember sitting at the airport for hours and hours, just waiting, feeling my excitement for the trip drain away, replaced by fatigue and frustration. It's a helpless feeling. You're completely at the mercy of the airline and the circumstances, weather, mechanical issues, crew availability, etc. There were 2 times when I had a canceled flight that resulted in something even more inconvenient. I had to spend the night at the airport. Yes, actually sleep at the airport. This was terrible. Truly terrible. It sounds like something you only see in movies, but it happens. One time, my connecting flight was canceled late in the evening due to a cascading series of delays earlier in the day. The airline couldn't get me on another flight until the next morning. They offered some options, like a hotel shuttle, but given the late hour and the early morning departure of the rescheduled flight, it felt like more hassle than it was worth to leave the airport for just a few hours of potential sleep in an unfamiliar hotel. Plus, sometimes getting hotel vouchers from airlines in these situations can be its own bureaucratic nightmare. So I decided, along with many other stranded passengers, to just tough it out at the airport. It was not fun, at all. Airports are not designed for sleeping. The seats are uncomfortable, often with armrests that prevent you from lying down. The lights are always on. There are announcements being made periodically, people walking around, cleaning crews working. It's noisy and bright. It's cold because the air conditioning is often on high. You have to try and find a somewhat quiet corner, maybe huddle on the floor or across a few seats if you're lucky enough to find empty ones without armrests. You try to use your bag as a pillow. You're worried about your belongings, so you try to keep them close and stay alert. It's impossible to get real, restful sleep. You just kind of doze in and out of consciousness, feeling grimy and uncomfortable. The second time it happened was similar, another cancellation late at night. Again, faced with limited options, staying at the airport seemed like the path of least resistance or least expense. It was just as unpleasant as the first time. The same hard seats, the same bright lights, the same constant noise. Waking up stiff, tired, and feeling completely unrested, knowing you have to catch an early flight and then potentially deal with jet lag and the start of your trip. It's just the worst way to begin or continue any travel adventure. So, yes, while the destination and the experiences there are usually wonderful, the process of getting there, particularly the flying part, can be a significant source of stress and negative experiences. Delays and cancellations, especially those leading to an overnight stay at the airport, are definitely low points of traveling. I sincerely hope you guys, my listeners, never have that experience. It's truly something I wouldn't wish on anyone who is trying to enjoy a trip. Of course, it's important to remember that millions of flights happen every year without major issues. Most of the time, flying is safe and efficient, just perhaps a bit tedious and uncomfortable. But the potential for disruption is always there, and it's something travelers have to accept and try to mitigate where possible, like booking flights with good on-time records, allowing plenty of time for connections, or buying travel insurance. So that covers some of the ups and downs, the good and the bad things about traveling. We've talked about the incredible joy of discovering beautiful places like Hawaii or the Tuscan countryside, the sense of freedom on a road trip, the unique experiences of backpacking, the importance of choosing the right accommodation, and the frustrations that can come with the necessary evil of flying. Overall, looking at everything, all the different aspects, all the different trips I've taken, the good moments and the challenging ones. I think we can all agree that it's nice to travel once in a while. Or perhaps more than once in a while if you're like me, even with the potential for lost luggage, or getting sick, or dealing with bed bugs, or suffering through flight delays, and airport overnights. The benefits of travel far outweigh the drawbacks, at least for me. The memories you create, the perspectives you gain, the people you meet, the things you learn about the world and about yourself, these are invaluable. Travel broadens the mind, as the saying goes, and it's absolutely true. It makes you more adaptable, more understanding, more appreciative of differences, and often more appreciative of what you have back home. The feeling of stepping into a completely new environment with different sights, sounds, and smells is invigorating. Trying to navigate in a place where you don't speak the language or where the customs are different can be challenging, but it's also a learning experience. It teaches you patience and resourcefulness. Meeting people from different cultures, hearing their stories, understanding their way of life. It breaks down barriers and builds empathy. Travel isn't just a vacation, it's an education. It's an investment in yourself. It's a way to recharge, to gain new energy and perspective. It's about stepping outside your comfort zone and discovering what you're capable of. Whether it's a short trip to a nearby town or a long journey across the globe, every travel experience adds something to your life. It gives you stories to tell, memories to cherish, and a deeper understanding of the incredibly diverse and fascinating world we live in. Even the bad experiences, like the bed bugs or the airport overnight, become stories later, don't they? And they teach you lessons. They make you a more prepared, more resilient traveler for the future. You learn what to look out for, how to handle difficult situations, how to appreciate things when they go smoothly. So despite the potential hassles, I wholeheartedly believe that traveling is a rewarding and enriching activity that everyone should try to do, in whatever way is possible for them. It doesn't have to be expensive or far away. Exploring your own region, your own country, can be just as rewarding as going to the other side of the world. The key is to step outside your usual environment and open yourself up to new experiences. Okay. Wow, I feel like I've talked about travel for a long time today. From my childhood trips to Hawaii, to my preference for nature over beaches, the joys of road tripping in the US and Tuscany, the challenges of backpacking in Portugal and Spain, the unforgettable lesson from bedbugs in a hostel, my current preference for Airbnb, and the unavoidable frustrations of flying. We've covered quite a bit. I hope you've been able to follow along and understand most of it. This has been a really enjoyable topic for me to talk about because it's something I'm so passionate about. I could honestly go on and on about specific trips, funny stories, lessons, learned amazing things I've seen and done while traveling. Maybe in future videos, I'll dive deeper into some of these individual trips or aspects of travel. For now, that's all for today on this particular listening practice video about travel. I hope it was good practice for you. I hope you were able to listen and comprehend my English. If there were parts you didn't understand, feel free to listen again. That's what these videos are for. Repetition is key in language learning. Before I go, I would love to hear from you. I always say this, but I really mean it. It helps me know who is listening and what you're interested in, and it's nice to connect. So please leave a comment below this video. Tell me about your own travel experiences. What is your favorite place that you've traveled to? Where have you been that holds a special place in your heart? Or maybe where is somewhere you really want to go in the future? What kind of travel do you prefer? relaxing beach holidays, adventurous mountain climbing, cultural city breaks, road trips, backpacking. Share your thoughts. I read all the comments and I love hearing from you. Your comments and questions also give me ideas for future videos. So, if there's anything specific about travel or any other topic you'd like me to talk about for listening practice, let me know in the comments too. Thank you so much for listening today. I really appreciate you spending this time with me. Keep practicing your English. Keep listening, keep speaking, keep reading, keep writing. You're doing great. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care and maybe start dreaming about your next trip. Bye for now.